Welcome to Watching Football Week with your host, one half of that dynamic duo,
Let's go.
Sean Spencer, and South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer.
Don't play us if you're undefeated.
Where we celebrate past success
Back to throw it. Touchdown.
while looking to a bright future. There's a youth movement in Washington, and they're ready to take the reins, led by a fiery force. It's a new day, a new dawn, no longer the laughing stock. It's time to take command.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You know who it is. It's your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And finally, I'm back with my guy, South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer. What up, Will?
Oh, man, we're back on. I don't have to go on work trips. It's good to be able to talk, but I got to say something. I got some bad news to share. I'm not happy. It's getting colder here, and I have to wear pants the next 2 days. And I had to wear them today, and I'm not happy. I did not move to South Carolina to be wearing pants. I enjoy my short season, and I don't like this at all.
How often do you have a cold season? I mean,
It's cold from it gets cold from like December through February. You know. Okay. Yeah, it gets cold. It gets down to the 40s at night and all that stuff. But I don't like 40s.
It. What is that?
Yeah, maybe lower. I don't like it.
Tell it, Johnny. Poor Will Kramer.
But
40s.
It's going to be a beautiful weekend. I'm going to the South Carolina Florida game, so the sun will be out. It's going to be great. It's going to be a fun time.
Oh yeah. Are you guys tailgating? Are you doing it? Are you bringing the boys or?
No. We're doing it through our church. Okay. And so I need my time away.
Is that the spot we scoped out last time? That field area and all that?
We found something different, closer, a little bit better.
Okay.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. We didn't have to go there.
Oh yeah. Still definitely enjoyed my time in South Carolina. Yeah. Especially since we won.
I'm sure you did. Yes, you've got great memories. That's fantastic. I'm so happy for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Yes, we are here live in front of you. And 2 games happened since the last time we were able to talk to you. We go out and have an amazing, stellar, gutsy performance. Our quarterback plays all the way down to the wire and scores a touchdown to tie us up with the NFC champs from last year. Fortunately, we weren't able to get it done. We lose in overtime. But needless to say, we were riding high, riding very high. And some of us, I don't know who, might have said we had a bye week coming that Thursday. Ladies and gentlemen, week 5 came and went, and we lost. We lost 40 to 20 to the Bears. DJ Moore had himself a day. Justin Fields looked like the second coming of greatness. And I've been spending the last about 5 days, trying to explain what happened to our team. So we're going to try to dive into that. We'll just get the initial reaction to this. We're not going to spend much time here, but what are your thoughts on the game and afterwards?
Huge disappointment. And they just came out utterly flat and just played like dog bleep out there.
Point blank, that's what it was. That's what it was. And we're going to try to just look, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, there's a lot of people saying a lot of things. When you lose to the winless Chicago Bears, a team that incidentally has not won prior to this last Thursday, they had not won since last year in October. with something we have a tendency to do. We have to move on because at this point, we've lost our last 3 games after starting 2-0. Will, we're 2-3. 2 out of the last 3 games were at home, and they weren't pretty. You know, you sandwich in there that Eagles game where it gave us hope, but I don't know, 37-3 and 40-20, they kind of cancel out that middle one. So we're 2-3. Will, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, well, we're close to where I kind of thought we might be. You know, I kind of thought we'd be 2-2 going into the Bears game, and you know, so we're kind of 1 game flipped on that. But it's more about the way we've played. We're 2-3. We still have plenty of time left to have a good season. Ron does very well in the middle of the season.
Yes,
you know, he's the meat of the sandwich part of it, but we don't feel good at 2-3. No. The 2 wins aren't decisive wins. I think the only game I feel good about is the loss to the Eagles all season long. Like that's the one where, you know, like the game ended and like you could just go, darn. And but be like, hey, I'm gonna wear my jersey for the rest of Sunday. No one can make fun of me because we went toe to toe. You know, and it's like, but the games we've won, it's like, golly, we snuck that one out. You know, and then we, like you said, we got blown out twice. So right now, it's like it's 2-3. We can do something about it, but you don't really feel good about where we are right now in the season.
No, because like you said, like we snuck by those first 2 games, and it wasn't even like we snuck by them like kind of like Philly got past us. It was like we snuck by them, and they shouldn't even been in the games. We came into the first week against Arizona saying we should handily beat these guys, and it took us to the 4th. Denver, who has not looked great, everybody's been calling for Russ and Sean Payton's head. That first half, they look Super Bowl bound against us, putting up 21 early on us, and still put up 33 towards in the full game. You're absolutely right. We haven't looked good. Our defense, although bend but don't break, but our defense hasn't looked its best.
Oh, there's been a lot of breaking out there.
Yeah, it's been hard to watch. I'm not gonna lie, and just. With the way things have happened, it has shut down certain things. We don't run the ball as well. You know, we're depending on Sam to do all of this extra stuff. And it's weird because it's almost like do we have an accurate gauge of our team? You know, are we the team that played Philly, or are we the team that played the Bears? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I don't know if we know what, hey, it's somebody that's coming on here a little later on. I don't know if we have an identity. Who are we? You know what I mean?
Yes.
It hurts, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's and the fact that we played so well against Philly, the team was upset in the locker room afterwards. Like Terry was distraught because they really were like, this is a winnable game. We shouldn't have lost this. So you just thought, like, I was so jacked up for Thursday night. I'm like, we could not have a better time to have a Thursday night game, get off the schneid and get a win and be feeling good. And then you just laid this clunker in the first half, like just absolute dog bleep.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't think there's any other way to look at it, man. And going into the next 2 games where we have a beatable Falcons team and a beatable New York Giants team, those 2 games don't look so beatable. I don't feel confident at all that we're going to do it. In fact, Johnny asked me today, he was like, yo, I'm picking my picks this week. Can I trust you? Can I put you? I said, Johnny, it's a 50-50, man. I said, you flip a coin and whatever side it lands on, there you go. Because I can't call it right now. I don't know. I don't have that faith.
No, absolutely.
Yes, Cameron. Well, they aren't who we thought they were.
You know the thing about the Bears, it was almost like we had this coming to us because we really should have lost last year when they didn't score by mere centimeters. You know, it's like we should have had this coming. But and I was a little nervous the fact that they got their offense going the week before. It was like, okay, well, they scored a whole bunch of points. I think what did Nick tell us? They were up like 28-7, and then they lost the game. So it was like. I was like, okay, so they seem to get the offense going, but that doesn't excuse 27-3 in the first half. That's inexcusable.
No, we looked like the winless team, and they looked like the team that was 2-2. Point blank. So obviously, when things like this happen, your fans aren't too thrilled about it, and it's funny when you look at the difference a week makes. Last week, the round table, the Bears fans, Delilah and Nick, are just sitting here like, man, I just don't even want to watch. There's no hope. And I'm just like, Nick, there's some things schematically that you guys could really expose us on. And he's like, no, I don't even want to think about it, blah, blah, blah. And then after the game, they're like, oh, okay, we look kind of good. And I'm just sitting there like, I told you. Come on, man. I didn't want to be right. This is the one time I didn't want to be right. But I am. And look, Will, everybody and their mom that dons that burgundy and that gold has been pointing towards one thing. And I think we need to address it. Everybody and their mom has either said Ron Rivera or Jack Del Rio needs to go. And in some cases, I want to say 50% of those cases, they say both of those guys need to go. What are you feeling right now, man?
Yeah, I understand the frustration. I'm pretty frustrated too with Ron, the fact that you're no longer having to deal with all that junk from Dan Snyder and everything. And so I really thought he was going to focus on football and like be watching with the game plans, the schemes for everyone, kind of be on top of everything. I really thought he recognized that. He said this year, we need to get off to a faster start. We come off to slow starts. Well, here we are once again at 2-3, playing at dog bleep and having to, having to regroup again. And we have to rally again in the middle of the season, the way everything has happened to him so far. So it's frustrating. But I also say this, who are we going to turn to right now?
There it is.
Yep. If you fire Ron, you're going to promote Jack Del Rio, who's got head coaching experience. He's the likely person that you could promote. No, wait, everyone wants him out of town. So what are you going to do? You're going to promote Eric Bieniemy, who's in his first 5 games as a full offensive coordinator. Now you're going to make him take over head coach responsibilities, media responsibilities, game planning. He's working on this part right here to prove to everyone that he can be a head coach. Like, that's not good for him either. Plus, how often do interim coaches get named head coaches afterwards? I think the Vikings did it with Leslie Frazier a couple years ago, but most often you're a placeholder. And for everyone that wants EB to get a chance at being a head coach, just promoting him midseason is probably not going to be the way to do it. So that's the biggest thing right now when it comes to both Ron and Jack is who's going to replace him on staff if you do that.
Right. And look, you alluded to it earlier. I think we have to say, I've told people about it. Yes, we start poor every single year. 1-2, 2-6, or 1-4, 2-6. These type of standings, but somehow, some way, around week 6, week 7, he finds a way with a random quarterback with a match work, offensive line, just randomness, and we get it done. He seems to string those victories together. Same with Jack Del Rio. You sent me that tweet where it said in his last 3 years and those first 4 games, defense averages 30 points. Mm-hmm. Now, towards weeks 5 through 17, it gets down to maybe 20 or less, but still, you can't start that way and expect people to believe in you. Right. But at the same time, they do get it done eventually. Right. But like Janae asked me on Monday, how long are we going to be okay with starting so slowly and then eventually kicking it into gear midway through the season?
Oh, 100%. And that's exactly what this ownership group is doing. They're sitting back, they're watching, they're seeing this. And Ron, this is where it kind of surprises me because Ron knows he's on the chopping block here this season. Yeah. This is prove it. You got new owners and you don't see the urgency coming from him right now. And that's what seems kind of surprising. Or the things he says publicly just doesn't seem to match up where he's like, we got to do your job. Like just before we came on the show in front of everyone, it says, do your job before you walk into the locker room. Like, I get it. What he's trying to say is we've watched the film. And if you do this and you do this the way you're supposed to, the big play that we gave up isn't going to happen. But that's not taking ownership on yourself as coaches.
No.
That's putting all the blame on the players. And that I cannot see how that's going to help turn your season around. If you're just basically saying, y'all need to get this together because it's not our fault.
Well, yeah, and it lends to something that shout out to our guy Ab that comes on here every here and now. One of the things he said is they kind of have this air that we know what we're doing. The people that we brought in house are going to figure it out, and if they don't figure it out, it's on them. Where it's kind of like we see these gaping holes. We see that certain players can't play well here or there. You know, you can't just mix and match and hope it works. And I think I know we're going to talk about this in a little bit. The roster construction, the recent drafts, the different positions we have not addressed, that falls on Ron. So if you're on here saying, oh man, these guys aren't doing it, do your job. Maybe some of these guys aren't it. Maybe some of these guys aren't the fit, but you thought they were. So maybe they aren't the ones that need to be doing the job. Maybe you need to be doing your job, Ron. Maybe you need to get this thing together.
Dude, you couldn't have said it better. I mean, let's think about this. Ron coming in, when he took over the Redskins in 2019, he took over a team that had Terry McLaurin, Jonathan Allen, Jerome Payne, Montez Sweat, Brandon Sheriff, Trent Williams as your best players. In 2023, the best players on the Commanders, Terry McLaurin, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, Jerome Payne, Chase Young, which came because the Redskins had a bad 2019 team, and so you were gifted the second round pick. The only two impact players Ron has brought in his 4 years are Jahan Dotson and Cam Curl. Those are like the only you could really kind of say, hey, these guys are, if they were to be cut, they would be picked up pretty quickly by somebody else. That's problematic in your roster building. Johnny mentioned something about you need to take a look at your GM. Absolutely. And Ron is in charge of that. You know, it's a coach-centric approach where they kind of actually feed up to him. But for you to be sitting here in year 4 and you've added 2 good players and you've had 4 drafts to do this or 3 drafts, like that's a major problem that we got going on here, that you have not built this roster up good enough to be competing that in year 4. You shouldn't be in a rebuilding process. You should have built this up much, much better than you did.
No. And I mean, it's not even just the draft picks, but then the free agency. We go after Ryan Fitzpatrick 2 years ago, and he plays a quarter. We go after Carson Wentz last year, and he plays the first 4 games, and then gets hurt in the Bears game. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He didn't look great, with the exception of one great block on Roquan Smith. that was it for how good he looked, and he didn't get his chance back until late in the San Francisco game, and then against Cleveland. But I mean. And with some of the players that you guys are getting, not going after some of these free agents that maybe you got to spend some money on, but maybe they can help right the ship in-house. It just gives you that feeling like, Ron, man, like something you're doing ain't working. And maybe it is that he is GM and head coach. Maybe you just need to cut that GM, give that to somebody else, and you focus on the X's and the O's. You know what I mean? Because like Janae said, see, I every year I'm like, man, these guys, they would run through a wall for this guy. They would do anything for him. Yeah, but I'm not going to run through a wall for somebody if at the end of the day we're not winning. And I'm starting to look at things, and I'm like, I don't know if he's putting this together right, man. It gets to the point where it's not a bad thing to question, Ron and the coaching staff. And now that you have the stats that back it up, it's like, we do need to think. But I think to your point that you said earlier, we can ask these questions, but unless you have a concrete plan to bring the next regime in, I think you just got to pump your brakes. Because like my thing says, we're 2-3. We're still just 2-3, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely. And because of the track record of the middle of the season being their most successful period, they like to get us all pumped up around Christmas time that we got ourselves a good team, and then they're going to fall flat on their face. But that's what they do. And so we just got to hope that they were embarrassed on Thursday Night Football. They got a chance to watch the film too, and they have corrected things that they recognize it's time to turn this around, and whatever they were trying to do is going to get fixed.
No. And I'm going to go ahead and say this right now on behalf of the fans, Ron and Jack Del Rio. Y'all had better fix things, because if you thought these fans were rowdy before we had new owners, we had Dan Snyder. Now that we have new owners and we have a little bit of hope, you might get a little anarchy on your hands, because the last 2 home games were sellouts, Will.
Yes.
They were sellouts, and that's the product that we put on the field. I can't stand behind that, man.
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Coaching news. Yes. So go ahead, Will.
Yeah. So it's kind of segues perfectly to, it came out yesterday. There was a report by Josina Anderson, and she's not just coming up with this stuff. So someone from Ashburn's feeding this to her. A lot of people thinks it's wrong, but basically it was saying that Josh Harris expressed a lot of concern about what's going to happen with ticket sales. The fact that we lost really, really embarrassing on national television, that we've had some sellouts, and what's going to happen. And there's been some pushback on Josh Harris saying, like, well, this is what you're concerned about. You know, fans are concerned about the product on the field, and they're hearing that the owner is concerned about ticket sales. If you hear that, what do you think?
Well, yeah, no. The first thing I'm thinking is, you watching the game? Like, and I get it. You're a businessman, so you're looking at the bottom line and things of that nature. But I'm not priorities. That makes me think. And you go from the preseason, you go from those early games where he's in the fans and he's in the stands and he's talking to the fans and doing all that, and that all looks great and everything. But I don't think anybody has been hesitant in saying, we want one thing. We want a winner. Okay. I don't care about how many, the ticket sales and how many people are coming. I don't care if we sell out a stadium back-to-back weeks. If we're not putting a good product on the field, forget that. You know what I mean? You have to. My concern with this is that people like yourself, people like me, people like Jack that have been around and are verbally said, I'm not giving them money. I'm not doing that to Dan Snyder because of how awful he was. Well, look, the honeymoon period is kind of over. We're 2-3 now. We've lost 3 straight games after barely winning the first 2. We could easily be 0-5, and you're worried about ticket sales. I would be more concerned with this had I not heard what one of the other owners, Magic Johnson, said, where he was more concerned with the play on the field. So that leads me to believe that maybe you got that, since it's the ownership group, Josh Harris is the guy that's about the business, the finances, boom, boom, boom. Magic is about win, win, win. This is why he's in here. So if that's how they're dividing it up, okay, I'm fine with that. But still, for Josh to come out and that's his concern is the ticket sales. I mean, I get it, the bottom line, but come on, man.
See, and I am not concerned about this at all, because I feel like he spelled out his playbook back in the summer, and he even mentioned in the article, he said, not all of the minority or not all the ownership partners feel the same way. Essentially saying, Magic behind the scenes has been vocal. But if you also notice, Magic was talking about the competitiveness and the fight in them. He's obviously concerned about wins and losses, but Magic's bigger thing was like, we embarrass ourselves out there. That's what they don't want to see. But I think they also recognize, hey, there's not much we can do right now on the field. We just need to let them play it out. And that's, I think, Josh Harris's his point. But also, you got to know who he is. And we saw this from Philly, or we heard this from Philly people saying he's a businessman first and foremost. That is what he's going to be concerned about. And winning is a part of that. But he said in August, the honeymoon period only lasts so long. Yeah. And we need to be doing good things to kind of keep the momentum going. And winning is a part of that. And I think what he's looking at is saying, by having Redskins fans, Commanders fans in the attendance, the feeling of the building is a lot better than what it's ever been, because he's about to really feel it at the next home game. Philly comes to town. If we're 2 and But we're 2-3, 2-5.
2-5.
If we're 3-4, Philly fans are going to spend that money and take all those, and he's going to get a chance to see what it's been like in that stadium with that. When the home team is a road team, and I think he's concerned about that and having the right type of attitude at the stadium and all that. So I'm not too concerned about it this year. Yeah. Now, 2 years from now, if this is all he's still talking about, I'd be like, geez, we got a guy who cares more about his pockets than he does. But right now, I really feel like they didn't fire Ron, they didn't force a fire of Jack Del Rio, after this game. They're like, y'all just play this season out. Changes are going to come in January of 2024.
Well, and they made a statement to say that they're not making any moves. And I like that they made that statement that they're going to stick with it, because fans have a tendency to jump off the deep end after these type of games. I mean, this is sports. It's not just Washington. You know what I mean? But we are an exceptionally passionate bunch, yes. and when you do something you're not supposed to do, like give up 40 points to the winless Bears, then, it's kind of frustrating. But this does bring me back to what Magic tweeted. Because one of the things Magic said coming in here was he's got rings at all the different major league teams that he owns, that he's a part of. He's got championships with that. So him saying what he said was huge. I mean, I thought that was paramount, because that to me is saying, hey, look, I like that, they're over there, Josh is doing his thing, but I'm a winner. Point blank, period. I don't want to be a part of teams that aren't being successful. Right. So him saying that and coming out and saying that, which is something that's kind of different from the smiling, laughing Magic that you always see, him saying that and kind of just leaving it out there, that to me is kind of, okay, now I want to see, okay, what we're going to do. And if maybe he directs it to the players, maybe he directs it to the coaches, because like he said, they came out flat. That's on coaching. That's on coaching to get you guys jacked up. But then, like my coach has always told me, and whenever I coach, I'd say, as a coach, you can do only so much. But once they strap up and get on the field, your hands are off. You can tell them what to do. You can tell them to play everything, but you can't get inside a player on the field in that certain situation. That's just what it is. So I like that Magic tweeted. And you know what? I like that both of them said their things. So that lets us know it's not just the tip like Dan Snyder last year. It is Josh Harris is focused on this because this is important. We need to focus on it. Magic made a point on this because, yes, it was very embarrassing, and we've lost the last 3 games. So, yes, I'm glad they're coming out and being open about these things. But like you said, just pump our brakes and let's just, we know they're going to be vocal. Let's go.
Completely. Yep, I agree.
But at the end of the day,
I liked it. It's Nick. You gotta give him his chance.
Okay. Are you good, Nick? You got it? There you go. At the end of the day, we do have to address something. We talked about, you and I discussed it. We're not healthy. We're not fully healthy. And there's a number of injuries, especially coming out of this game, that we got to address, because there's some players that have not played yet that now will get that opportunity, but they're only going to get the opportunity because of the injury. So, Will, talk to us. Who's on our injury list right now, and where do we go from here?
Yeah. So 2 big injuries in the secondary. One we were aware of. I don't think the other one we were. So the first one, Derek Forrest went out with a broken shoulder. They announced that he went to injured reserve, with a fractured shoulder. I didn't know about that. And so what it's going to do, it's going to open up opportunities for Quan Martin, the rookie second-round pick, who has not played a snap on defense so far, and Percy Butler to get a whole lot more time to start at safety. Part of what Ron had said, and this is where I kind of talked a little bit earlier about, like, Ron just says stuff that gets himself in trouble, was the week before he mentioned about Quan Martin. Well, he's not playing because, other guys in front of him are playing better and it's going to take injuries to get him on the field. But he also said we drafted him because when Cam got hurt, we had a huge drop-off and we needed some help. But people are like, you're drafting somebody to be depth in the second round? We need players that can play in the second round.
Thank you.
So it's a little bit of like, Ron, you're not helping yourself with that. But Quan's going to get an opportunity to play. So was Percy Butler, which also has some concerns because you got to wonder, well, why did it take Quan this long to get on the field? And Percy, if you noticed in the Bears game, they targeted him twice and they scored 2 touchdowns while doing it. When watching him playing in the cover 2, they baited him to go over the middle, and he allowed DJ Moore to get 2 touchdowns because they caught him leaving the corner on an island. So there's some concerns about that that we'll get to see come Sunday. The other one is a guy that we love. You and I love that, and I wish this guy got more playing time on actual defense. Jeremy Reeves. Concern is he might have torn his ACL. They said he got a partial tear. I don't know what that means. I'm anticipating he's out for the whole season. I don't know what a partial tear is. And the problem is it's not just the fact that he's an expert special teams player. He's a locker room presence. And when guys get injured and they're out for that long, they're not there around the facility. They're not a part of things in the same capacity. And so that is concerned that we may lose his presence in a situation right now where the team needs leadership.
Yeah, and we gotta address the elephant in the room. Will, our secondary has been poor this year, and now we're losing 2 of our guys. Oh my goodness! Now we're going up against an Atlanta team that primarily runs the ball.
Yep.
So hopefully that means that should be all. And then after that, obviously the New York Giants. And Daniel Jones, who, however bad he's doing this year, and however bad he tends to do each year, he still plays us well. He figures out a way to play well against us. And then you talk about going back up to Philly.
Not good. Not good timing.
No. I don't know. I can't say anything. I'm just.
It's concerning. It's definitely concerning.
It is.
There's a little bit of excitement to see, like, okay, Quan, what do you got? But it's more about these 2 guys. We don't know if they're ready for prime time, and now they're getting thrust into it.
So ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have to figure. I mean, the team's gonna have to figure this out. Hopefully, we can work on getting some zone. Helping those guys get more pressure to take out the quarterback so that he's not getting the pass off. Oh, my goodness gracious.
You mean first-round picks putting pressure on the quarterback? What a concept.
Oh my goodness.
Dudes who want to get paid $100 million? Come on now.
Thank you. That, you know what? That's a topic for another day. Look, we got somebody in here that he feels the same way. He talks to us daily. He is a Baltimore Ravens fan and a Washington Commanders fan, also / Washington Redskins fan. And we got to bring in our guy because he's got questions, he's got concerns, and hey, at the end of the day, this guy knows what he's talking about. Our guy, Mr. Nathan Snell. What up, Nate?
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey, welcome.
I'll be the first to admit, now I'm not right on everything, and I'm learning to take accountability on that, but I do appreciate the comment, Sean.
Well, you know what you are right on? Welcome to the Serengeti.
I was going to say the same.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't know what that means, but I was going to say that.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that know, that's what our buddy Nathan messages us like almost every day. And we were still trying to figure it out, but I'm just going to say it, all right?
All you got to do is Google Monty Brown, TNA. All right. That's it.
All right. This guy. Nathan, man, yes, oh my goodness. So you've been watching with us, you've been talking with us, you've seen all the games that we've had, and there's a number of issues obviously that we've been addressing, injuries, coaching, and just a lack of effort. But there's also a number of other issues that address them. And one of the ones that you were mentioning to us, something that we know is a glaring hole, our O-line.
Definitely.
We have O-line issues, Nate. And what in your mind, what do you think, man?
Well, I would have thought that I just saw some growth, especially last year. I understand they had the injuries, but I thought some guys were taking a step forward. I'd say the only one that looked decent enough was probably Sam Kasimi. But other than that, the offensive line was just terrible. They did, like, if you watched Sam Howell, God bless him, he got the ball out quickly, and he had to kind of make up for the offensive line's mistakes. And I'm not gonna lie, like I think he's gotten sacked 29 times so far this season, if I'm saying that stat correctly. Like he's on pace to get sacked almost by the end of the year, almost like damn near 50, 60 times because this
higher, 100.
100, yeah. Because it's just and I don't know if that is the scheme because we can obviously still see Eric's offensive schemes still the guys are still adjusting to. It's kind of almost I see some similarities with Baltimore in a sense. Like guys are still adjusting to this new system.
Yeah.
And particularly the offensive line, they're not making They're not making Sam's job any easier because the way we're going at this rate, we're going to ruin him before the year's over.
Right. Well, Nate, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Me ask you this. Where does the fault lie in that? Does the fault lie in Ron or the GM and all that? Because Quan Martin, we talked about Quan Martin, who was a second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
The pick that was picked after him by Tampa Bay was Cody Mauch. Cody Mauch he can play any position on that line, and even if we needed depth, he's somebody that can step right in when we need him. So, where do we lay the blame with this?
I think it's one. I kind of look at the players. But I look at coaching. Got to hold the offensive line coach and Eric too. Eric takes a little bit of accountability. Ron on that as well. But front office too, scouting. Scouting to me, I think, is a pivotal piece when you're trying to build a team. And some of these draft picks, I'm not gonna lie, they have been definitely misses in terms of development. Like, sure, I get it. Injuries are part of the game. Things happen, but I would have thought by at least game 3-4, we would have seen some adjustments offensive line. Maybe I would suggest some guys getting benched. But to answer your question, I think it falls on coaching, but it does fall on front office.
Absolutely. That I was thinking as you're talking about this here with the offensive line, it's like, and you're mentioning who's at fault, and it's kind of a little bit of a collection right now. Mm-hmm. But Eric Bieniemy brought in a guy from Kansas City.
Yes.
To be the starting right tackle. It seems like they've done something right by moving Sam Cosmi into right guard. He seems to be thriving there, But Andrew Wiley signed like the minute the free agent clock at the time opened up, which also, and he's also only signed for $8 million a year, where right tackle money, the better ones, the elite ones, is about double that. So the fact that we went bargain hunting, it's like, wait a minute, we praised it. I praised it in the offseason by saying the enemy knows something. He knows who he's bringing in. But Wiley has struggled. He leads the team in sacks given up. The other guy that is Sadiq Charles. I actually thought he was doing well this year. Come to find out he's second on the team, almost maybe even tied with Wiley in the amount of sacks given up. Mm-hmm. And you're sitting here going, these are your two additions, two of your three additions to the offensive line with a rookie quarterback. And these are the guys you brought in for the second year in a row. We did this with Norwell and Trey Turner last year. The changes we made on the offensive line were cheap and ineffective.
Yep. I can't defend that. What do you want me to say to that?
I was thinking after I said that, I'm like, that's more of a statement.
Well, let me just say this real quick. Let me give you the PFF rating grades just for the Eagle game, for example. Charles Leno had the best one out of Nick Gates, Sam Cosmi, Zeke Charles, Andrew Wiley. That's pretty mediocre in a sense. If Charles Leno was the only one that had a decent PFF grade. So I really do think some adjustments do need to be made to the line. I do think you need to bench some guys. I don't think it's fair to throw Chris Paul, a rookie, out there into the fire. I just think some guys things have to be adjusted.
But that goes to your point of blaming the scouting department, saying what changes can be made. You've got Chris Paul, who was a 7th round pick last year, is an option, and you got a 3rd round draft pick this year as an option, and you got Cornelius Lucas, who has proven that he is a good stopgap when someone gets hurt. But There's nothing much more we can do at
There's
this
nothing more
point.
you can do. This is just what we have to work with.
So
And
then
that's
I think
disappointing.
you got to look into the scheme. And it looked like EB did that against the Eagles. There was a lot of quick game. They used a lot of screens to reduce the pass rush, to kind of take away that. But if you also notice against the Bears, the only time the offense started to move the ball is when they said, F it, we're no longer running the ball. And we ran like 55 straight passes, you know? So it's like that is not sustainable either. So where's the happy medium? Because our running game stinks.
So can I ask? So if I may ask you both a question, because we talked about this privately. You stated that Thursday's loss to the Bears, you weren't buying fatigue. In other words, you were saying they just didn't effort.
Mhm.
When you look at Washington these first 5 games, there are slow starts. How do you think? Do you feel like there is a bit of micromanagement on, particularly on the offensive side, because both sides of the ball are just slow starts. But particularly on the offensive side, do you think there's micromanagement on Eric?
It's hard to tell. It worries me from a coaching standpoint, from the fact that we are having to play catch up, or we look lethargic out there. Yeah, no, I mean, I actually, Sean, I totally forgot about this conversation. I thought you and me were actually going to get to go back and forth for once on the show in disagreement, because I just felt like I just couldn't blame tiredness but the fact that a game plan's not working, the fact that players aren't executing is definitely a concern. One of the things Sean and I talked about offline a couple weeks ago was, with this offensive line, and to your point there, Nathan, about the, why are they coming off to slow starts, is sometimes it only takes one mistake to ruin the entire drive. Like the offensive line could have 3 or 4 great sequences and plays, and then one guy gets beat, Sam Howell gets sacked, and it's now 2nd and 20, and we've ruined the entire drive. And it's like, it was one mistake, but it just compounds it. And I don't know if that's what's happening, where it's like, it's focus, it's technique, it's running the right routes at the correct depth, so that you're where you need to be. That's the part to where, like, how are these slow starts happening? I'm not sure, because I'm concerned from a coaching standpoint, but we don't know. Is it also what, the players not firing off the ball at the start of the game, and as to why?
Yeah, I agree. And at the end of the day, we talk about this slow start, and I thought you hitting it right on the head, Will, where it just takes one penalty where all of a sudden we're behind the chains. It just takes one play that gets stopped, and we have now 2nd and long, and then all of a sudden you get an incomplete pass, and then what are we doing now? A lot of people, when they look back at that Bills game, they say, "Oh my goodness, 37-3." But if you look, it was 16-0 at the half. Yes. There was parts where if we drove down the field, then maybe Sam threw an interception, or maybe there was the fumble by Brian Robinson. All of a sudden, now they get the ball back and turn it around. But we shut that offense down. Yes, and we were holding them to field goals. Same thing with the Chicago game. Mm-hmm. Before we blinked, we went 2 and out. We went 3 and out twice on offense, and they go up 10-0. I mean, if you spot anybody 10 points in the NFL, they should be able to work with that. But still, if we just like what I said in the Eagles game last year, the way we beat them was by keeping them off the field. That's what Chicago did to us. I mean, the fact that I still believe there was a little fatigue. They when I say that, Will, is because they stopped us, got our offense off the field, and their offense was on the field for most of that first half. That's what I meant. But I mean, we don't have the offense that can sustain the 3 and outs. Like we need it's like that old car. I don't know if you know about old cars, Nathan.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Sometimes you got to kick it in. You got to warm that bad boy up.
And let it warm up for a little bit.
Bang on the front there. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's kind of like our offense right now. And it goes to your point about the O-line. You knew we were coming into this year with this rookie quarterback, with this second-year guy. This wasn't more of an issue for you guys? This wasn't something that you felt like you needed to address more, desperately? It goes back to all of it, but go ahead, Nate.
I think and y'all said it earlier before you brought me on. I mean, we're only 5 games to the season. For all I know is like the next 5-6 games watched, and we'll turn it around cohesively. Like I feel like, and I've noticed this for myself, and I'm learning to be better. I think there's no in between when we're our teams in terms of growth. It's like you have to be instantly clicking right off the bat, or it's just championship or bust. And I think when you look at Washington, like for this draft class, Emmanuel Forbes. When you look at the pick, I'm not mad at it, but there were better options. You look at Jack Del Rio and Ron Rivera, former linebackers in this league. The lack of developing linebackers since they've been here. That's
What linebackers?
well, I'm just saying. I'm just saying they haven't found that linebacker
No.
that can change the game.
Right.
So, like you said, I agree. I think we're kind of just there's too much settling, and I think kind of coming into the season, even under new ownership, well, what are our expectations? I think once Dan's going like, oh, okay, want to see a better team. It sometimes it just takes growth, but I am a little disappointed that I heard in the press conference Ron said they weren't going to change anything. I like to see some guys changed. For me, in the game against Chicago, for example, I don't think Emmanuel Forbes should have been on DJ Moore because I was under the assumption at the beginning of the season Kendall Fuller was the quote unquote number one corner, and then Brandon Juice, was number two guy, and Emmanuel was the nickel slot. And when they benched him, and I don't think that helps. That doesn't help a player's confidence, especially when you're going against probably probably a good tier receiver in the league. And then Kendall Fuller didn't do much of a job. You really there are some questions. So,
Well, so
go ahead. Well,
yeah, so you're bringing up a great point about the front office and the philosophy that they took this offseason. And it relates to the offensive line and it relates to the defense as well in the secondary. You went into the season with a rookie quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You bargain hunted for your 3 new offensive linemen or your 2 new offensive linemen you brought in, and you promoted a guy who's been injured every single season he's been on the roster for the last 4 years. And you decided on defense, our problem was we didn't get enough turnovers. Well, yeah, you didn't, but you also need to be able – what is the league doing right now? This is an offensive league. And you said we need to put resources, our first 2 picks, into our defensive secondary to get more interceptions. They haven't produced more interceptions. You haven't changed anything. And in the end, you made your offense weaker by the decisions you made in the offseason by not saying we're going to pay money for our offensive linemen or we're going to prioritize it in the draft and make Sean Spencer happy and draft his toothless wonder from North Dakota.
Cody Balk.
So it brings up that's your point of like they bring in a third corner who is also competing. He's an outside cornerback with St. Juice, who did well as an outside cornerback, who with Kendall Fuller, who was the best corner on the team last year, who's an outside. So now you're not filling the problem, which was the slot corner. You brought in an outside corner, and it's not working to produce the turnovers that you said would impact the offense. It's not working. Nothing is working.
Nothing.
That's another statement. Sorry, I'm not leading questions.
See, I was waiting for Nate to put on. What do you want me to say to that?
Sorry. So I got another question then for you. So since I kind of ended that conversation, I didn't mean to. Talk to me about Jack Del Rio. You've got some concerns about him. What are your concerns?
He's too complacent. Like I saw a lack of like the only thing from the Bear game, like Chase Young, excuse me. If I remember, got to the quarterback 11 times. The defensive line pretty much, I mean, for the most part, played well. I will say, averagely did well.
They had no help.
The rest, I didn't see any lack of adjustment. The only adjustment when they benched Emmanuel Forbes. That's it. I didn't see. They didn't try to get to Justin. They didn't try to, try to zone. They just stayed complacent. And again, I just feel like I don't want to say like it's this league's passed him by because I think he knows defense, but you're just not getting enough out of what you have on the defensive side of the ball, and that's discouraging.
Yes.
And I'm gonna give it. I believe he'll turn it around, but I'm just disappointed, especially these last two games, Philly and Chicago. Like they've just kind of been complacent. There's just no adjustment.
Well, I agree with you. The game plan against the Bears in the first half was to rush to contain Justin Fields. They didn't want his legs to beat them, and in turn, they got their secondary torched by it, which is certainly problematic. And it took them till halftime, after halftime, to change the game plan up. Like you said, the defensive line flipped a switch and started blitzing and putting pressure on Fields, and they started to get some momentum back. And if Joey Sly had made the field goal, which I also heard was a really bad snapback, and so the rhythm of everything got delayed. So, exactly. Had he made that kick, I think it would have been a 7-point game, and momentum would have been a whole lot. Momentum was already turning in the Commanders' favor. So the aggressive game plan started to work. But I'm with you where it took way too long for that to happen out there. And it's concerning for me with Jack Del Rio because let's not forget, this is a guy that won a Super Bowl for Peyton Manning with Denver. So it's not like I can't feel like the game has changed so much that he can't still be a good defensive coordinator, but he's got a track record here now in the fourth season of having a good defense, but not a great one.
Not a great one.
But my only concern about it is when do we start holding players accountable? When do we start asking? So Logan Paulson said this week on Ben Standing's podcast, Jack Del Rio has been running a man concept this year, not zone. Yes. He's running man defense in the secondary. In order for that to be successful, you have to have a pass rush. And Chase Young said after the game and even at halftime, don't look at Jack on this. This ain't Jack's fault. So when are we going to start holding those two handsomely paid defensive tackles and two outside guys that want to get handsomely paid this offseason? When are you guys going to do something? I'm tired of hearing first-round picks along the defensive line.
Yes.
When is the pressure? When are they going to show me that they're T.J. Watt, like Nick Bosa? When are you going to be that type of player?
Calais Campbell.
Who?
Calais Campbell. But.
Yeah. When are you going to be the type of player that makes plays on a weekly basis? Because that's also my concern. We spend all these resources on the defensive line, and we're not getting first-round pick returns.
I don't know. I just feel like I would hope this loss kind of woke everybody up from a player coaching standpoint.
Yeah.
And I thought after the loss to Philadelphia, I thought that would have motivated them to beat Chicago, and it just looked like a totally different team. And
well, let me interject on that real quick because I think I told you guys this. I thought the exact opposite. I thought we played so above our weight and so above our level in that game against Philly, and we took it to the wire against these guys that I thought that we were going to come into this game kind of how some of the fans came into this game. Like there is no shot for them to beat us. And that's why I say that they out-schemed us because like Will was saying, we everybody outside of Washington talks about our front four and our D-line. But in this game, you saw it. JDR, they were scared of Justin Fields' legs. At a certain point in this ball game, they only had their fullback because their other running backs were hurt. And yet they were still running sweeps with Justin around the sides that would get those wide receivers open downfield. So it's frustrating, but like Will said, those front four, they have to play like their paycheck that they're getting. They have to show up and show out. And we love Deron Payne, we love Jonathan Allen and what they've done, but in order for that man coverage, that man defense to work, those front four need to be creating absolute havoc in that backfield. And right now, it seems kind of passive.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth.
It's not duck season.
I mean, I can't even say that. I just need these guys to just wake the hell up.
Yes.
I mean, y'all like, sure, fans matter, but when you get trounced like that at home, that's embarrassing.
Absolutely.
And I didn't like when they asked Ron at halftime, well, what was the message? They just talk to each other.
Yeah.
What they talk about? If I'm Ron, I'm throwing chairs. I'm letting guys know, like, we're at home. Like, wake up. And
you want that Ron Rivera from our opening video that's saying, "Let's go."
Right.
Yeah, we need that.
That's amping and jacking them up. Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it is a little. I do think it's a little, in my opinion. And yes, Ron does deserve some criticism, but particularly just on the national side of the media, I'm just not a fan of certain things that I'm hearing. It's just like he just doesn't look like he's all the way there. That's something I believe that was on First Take, if I remember hearing that segment correctly. Like, I believe there'll be a turnaround. Let's be patient. Like, if this was week 15, like last year, okay, the great example, the Carson Wentz choke game against Cleveland, okay, like if it was like one at that point in the season, then we got a strong argument. But I feel like it's best to get these issues out now. That way, down the stretch, it doesn't come back to bite us in the you-know-what.
Yeah. I know, like in the Sports Junkie said this week, I can't stand those guys that they feel Ron is checked out. It's hard to really make that argument, but it also doesn't look good when you're on the sidelines. Your team just gave up another touchdown in the first half, and all you're doing is standing there with your arms crossed. Like, can you show any type of friggin' life out there?
Yeah, I can't.
Like, you could be having a dialogue. I don't need you to be throwing your headset like Nick Saban does, but you could be talking to these guys. You don't need to just be sitting there with your arms crossed, stoic. Like, come on, dude. Let's put in a little bit more effort.
Just put some effort in there for sure. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I absolutely need some kind of excitement, some fire, some look like you're pissed off to what's going on, like all the fans feel. I said that last year when I went to Detroit for that game. And we're down 22-0, and he just is so calm and stoic. I don't need that. I don't. I need you to be throwing, like you're saying, throwing things. I need you the Gatorade to be flying. I need these players doing up downs on the sidelines like they're in an Optimist League. I need something where they're like, oh my God, we're not going to mess up like this again. But you know what it honestly looks like? They look like they get paid, I get paid. So, I mean, I could tell them something, but I don't know if they're going to follow it. And maybe that's the point where you have to say, is it time? And you know what? We're gonna audible because it's going a little longer, and I want to bring our guy in because I know he has some words on this topic and our overall coaches. Man, our guy Alex Stevens. What up, Alex?
What's going on?
Welcome.
How y'all doing?
Doing well.
I feel like I ain't talked to y'all in a minute.
It's been a while.
Right? We're doing as good as we can right now. But look, you heard what we were talking about, the lack of adjustments from Jack Del Rio. You know what the pundits have been saying. You know what the fans have been saying. What are your thoughts, man? Like, is it – I know last year was over, but is it fixable?
I don't think so, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Jack Del Rio, I'm not a big fan of Jack Del Rio. I just think, and I think I told y'all this last year or something. I just think he's very old school, which I just don't think it works anymore. You know what I'm saying? He's very plain and simple. If you watch, I hate to say this, look at the Cowboys. Look at Michael Parsons. He's lining up to the left, to the right, to the middle. I mean, the man probably, you can put him at linebacker. You probably put him at safety and he'll probably do good. You know, I mean, just the game that just happened. What was it? Was it the Raiders versus Green Bay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look at how you said Crosby.
Yes.
I saw him one play he was on the left side, then the other play he was on the right. You know, they find weaknesses on other teams. We don't really do that. I mean, it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad that we got 4 first-round guys, and you only and knowing the Bears, right? The Bears' offensive line is just straight terrible. I mean, they're worse than our offensive line. I mean, you would think, and you only sacked them 3 times. I don't know, man. I mean, I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of it you can blame on the players. You know, all right. For example, all right, we're going to corner. Y'all remember we got that guy from the Bengals, Jackson?
Mm-hmm. Last year,
he was a man corner, right? We got rid of him because he couldn't play zone very well.
Right.
So then we draft a guy, Emmanuel Forbes, which I'm a big fan of. He's a good zone corner. And all we did in the Bears game, I mean, mostly was play man.
Yes.
And then Jack Del Rio, whoever put him on the bench, right? Which I understand he was getting burnt. Yeah. But St. Juice was getting burnt. Our veteran corner, Kendall Fuller, was getting burnt.
Yeah.
Right.
So they need to get on the bench too. That's coaching, man. I'm sorry. That right there is just coaching. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I think Jack Del Rio should go first. I mean, the reason why, I mean, these linebackers, I mean, Barton, I think that's his name, right? He's terrible. I mean, he can't cover worth nothing. And you got this guy, what is it? Malik, is it Malik Hudson? You got him.
Khalid Hudson.
Khalid. I'm sorry, Khalid. This dude, every time he comes in, he makes some noise, and they still third string, fourth, like they don't even put him in. I just think it's bad coaching all around. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we got so much talent that we should not have lost to the Bears. I mean, there's no question. I mean, I can understand we losing to 3 points,
right?
But we lost to 20 points.
Yeah,
like come on, man. I'm sorry, man. I think it's coaching. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think it's coaching.
I can't argue against that, especially when you talk about lack of creativity. Like you said, you look at some of these elite teams, and they take their best player and say, okay, where can we exploit them? I'm going to move them around. And what do? You have Sweat up top, Payne, Allen, Chase. Now next down, Sweat. It's the same.
Same.
There's no mix and match.
Plain and simple.
When they talk about Jack Del Rio, he actually he blitzes one of the least amount of the defensive coordinators. And, only our offensive line is the one who can't block 5-on-4. But we think that just rushing 4 guys is going to be enough. And one of the things that they've talked about, Sam Howell has the biggest struggles with is when the defense is coming. They don't know which 4 are coming. Is it all 4 defensive linemen? Are there linebackers? Who's dropping back? And like you said, we have a lack of creativity on our defense line. We just say, go for it.
Yeah. Right. I mean, with I mean, I hate to say this. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer on Chase. I'm not gonna lie. I just think I hate to say this. I'm a big Chase fan. I mean, y'all know how I am. I mean, y'all are Chase fans too. But I really do feel like he's just a big name and overrated a little bit. I mean, yeah, I do feel like people are excited about his 11 pressures. I mean, I'm not saying that he's terrible now, but it's just if you really watch him, he's only got 2 moves. I mean, he bull rushes and he tries to beat a guy off with speed. Yeah. I mean, if you watch Michael Parsons, you watch Crosby, you watch TJ Watt. All right, go get some. If you watch TJ Watt and all them guys, I mean, they're spinning. They're so aggressive. I mean, it's crazy. And then Sweat. He shows up every once in a blue moon. Don't get me wrong, I love Sweat, but I wish he was like that every game. I mean, what was the game that we won? It wasn't the Cardinals when he showed up? The first game, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The second game, where was Sweat? The third game, where was Sweat? Like, I don't even think we even touched Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I mean, that's crazy. Like, how are we not? I mean, I understand their offensive line is good, but we supposed to be this dominant force. I mean, look at I ain't gonna lie to you. I just think we're big name. I mean, we just don't show up when it needs to. I mean, when we played the Bears, we supposed to be this run stopping defense, and the running back. I don't wish no injuries, but when the dude before he got injured, the one that Justin Fields threw a bad pass to him and his leg got
Herbert,
I don't even know that running back's name, but he was killing us all game.
Yes, yeah.
Well, so let me ask you this, because the big talk this offseason was Chase Montez. Who are you going to sign? Can you keep both? Part of me is like, is exactly what you're saying is, do we need to be throwing $20 million at either one of these guys? Are we at a point where we need to say, this isn't working? You may be a good player, but this isn't working collectively. And why put money into that when you could put money into different resources? I don't know.
Well, I would say before you do get rid of him, and it kind of sucks because we still got Jack Del Rio. But if Jack Del Rio did go, let's just say he got fired tomorrow. We put another defense coordinator in there, like someone that actually attacks and actually blitzes more, and put Chase Young on the left, the right, even Sweat, switch them around. I think these guys might even, earn the money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we have Jack Del Rio. So at the end of the day, these guys are going to be plain and simple. Everybody figures them out. You watch tape on them. I'm pretty sure one of the coaches on the other team is like, all right, well, we know Chase is going to be right here. He's always going to stay right here. He ain't never going to move. You know what I'm saying? So I really, like I said, I think it's the combination of both, but more on coaching. I'm sorry. I mean, I think it is. I mean, there was one game where Chase dropped back into coverage.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Ryan Kerrigan used to do that, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? It should be blitzing the whole time. I'm like, that's bad defense court. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I think the issue. Well, real quick, I think one of the main issues with Chase is kind of like what you're saying, is that we all still revere him as that number one draft pick, that great defensive end from Ohio State, and I think he thinks that too in his head. And these other teams don't give him that respect. You know what I mean? They know he's coming back off the injury. And then, like you said, you got the rest of these guys on this D-line. And the rest of the league, when they talk to us, when other fans talk to us, they sit there and say, man, how are you guys not doing this with those front four? Those front four, man, you built it up kind of like San Francisco did in the draft. Built it up, got those guys. And it's like, what are they doing? But I think you hit the nail on the head where it's just it's plain. It's plain Jane. It's 4-man rushing. Get past us. Our linebackers aren't going to do nothing to you. And we have a weak secondary who, and I agree that Forbes should have got pushed, but then again, all of them potentially should have got pushed out. But at the same time, it's like, if your D line isn't getting any pressure, if your linebackers aren't threatening anybody, then how else are your secondary going to stop anybody? Because they're always getting passes thrown to them and things like that. Like, we're not disrupting their offensive flow at all, as opposed to our offense where Sam is running for his life.
Right. I mean, I agree with you, Sean, when you what you were just saying, what was it, like 20 minutes ago, where you were saying that you want the coach to throw things and get hype and stuff like that. I mean, the man said coming back in the interview, I think when second half started, she was like, what did you tell your players? He said, I just let them talk about it. Ron, like, are you like? I went to the training camp. This year, and I think, Sean, I showed you some pictures. I met Ron. I shook his hand. I ain't gonna lie. I think he's a great guy. But when it comes to coaching, personal, I think he's great. When it comes to business coaching, he needs to go. I've been off the boat. 2-3 years ago, riverboat. I've been off that boat. So I mean. But I'm glad I met him and everything, but I'm sorry, man, that type of guy, I mean, he's just, I mean, if you watch him on the sideline when we're down from the Bears, I mean, he just does this right here and he's like this.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. Are you mad? Like, I don't know, man. I think it's coaching.
One of my concerns, though, is because I agree with just everything you're saying, but if you fire Jack Del Rio, who on this staff is going to take over? They have nobody with previous coordinator experience. They've got a bunch of no names along at position coaches. So who do we turn to?
I don't know. To be honest with you, this is what I'm hoping. I don't know if it's going to happen. We'll have to see when the season goes forward. But I'm hoping Jack and Ron, these new owners, they cut these guys, and Eric Bieniemy moves on up as head coach, And I hope Eric Bieniemy finds his defensive, coordinator. And Eric Bieniemy does what Jay Gruden did. Remember, Jay Gruden was the head coach and he called plays. He was the offensive coordinator too.
Yes.
I think Eric Bieniemy, I'm not gonna lie to you, I think he's playing. I mean, he's doing great with Sam. Yes, Sam has his ups and downs. He holds onto the ball a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I knew Sam. I don't know me. I was always a fan with him in North Carolina. I just thought knew I just knew this dude was gonna be something, and he's showing it. I mean, he really is. I mean, I think he's six on the board of passing yards. I think right. I think he's. I mean, he's just showing up, even with this terrible offensive line we have. Now, some of that is on him. So, I mean, he is the sack leader, right? I think he's got the most. He's gotten sacked the most in a quarterback. Yeah, that's some of him holding the ball, and that is our offensive line. But I mean, this is what Ron created. I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, remember we had Morgan Moses, we had Trent Williams, I know Trent Williams with the head situation, but we had Brandon Sheriff.
Yep.
He got rid of all these guys. All right. Remember we had Eric Flowers?
Yeah.
What happened? And I think the only guy that he drafted in the second or third round was what Cosme.
Yeah.
That's it. Everybody else, it ain't no first or second. It's always fourth or sixth or seventh round or undrafted.
Cheap free agent signings like Andrew Norwell, who's washed up, and Trey Turner, who ends up every season on the injured reserve, but he's our starting right guard last year.
And people want to blame Heineke from last year. It's not Heineke, man. It won't Heineke, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some things Heineke was, this and that. But I'm telling you, I feel like if we had a good offensive line with Heineke, I think we could have won about 8, 9, 10 games. I'm sorry. I mean, I think Heineke was just that type of guy where he wanted to, if he felt more comfortable. That's what I'm scared of with Sam. I love Sam. I just hope he doesn't. The amount of hits that he takes, I just hope he doesn't lose his confidence.
Right.
I mean, seriously, a lot of quarterbacks get rattled. It's only going to take him one good hit before he's rattled, and then he starts throwing picks like real bad, and then he's just lost in the sauce. Like that's what. But the dude, I'm telling you, he's an assassin. Like it doesn't faze him. But how long is that going to last when you got a terrible offensive line?
Look what happened to Derek Carr. I think he got sacked 72 times his rookie year. Right now, Sam has gotten sacked 29 times. He's on pace to get sacked over 100.
100. Yeah.
Those are the trends that we're setting. So something's got to change between player and scheme, like they did against the Eagles, where they got the ball out of his hand quickly. You know, there's gonna have to be some adjustments because he can't keep going through this. And Sam also he's got to learn how to slide. I love his competevness. He lowers his shoulder into someone, but that extra 2 yards is not needed when you get body slammed like he did in the Bills game.
Yeah, I mean that's how bad he wants it. Like he wants to win so bad, and I love that, from him because Heineke was like that. You love that type of player in him. I mean, he's got the biggest confidence in the world. I mean, the man he's ready to win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think we have to ask. I think we have to ask this. We were going to ask Nathan about this, but. We have to address this. Sam, we love what we've seen from him, but at the end of the day, I think the majority, if not all the games, we've been coming from behind. And this is great for him, but what does this say about us if these slow starts? We talked about it with Nathan before on offense and on defense. We love what we're seeing from Sam, yes, but sometimes Sam is holding the ball too long because he's trying to do too much, because he wants to get it for us. He wants to win. He wants to do all those things. It's what we love about Taylor. He's going to try. He's going to give us his best shot. And sometimes those were interceptions. I like that Sam is not turning the ball over except for that Buffalo game where he had 4 interceptions. But is this stunning his growth, consistently playing from behind?
I don't know, man. Possibly. I ain't gonna lie to you. If I think a lot of it is Eric Bieniemy. The reason why he is where he is. Yeah. I mean, do you really think Sam Howell would be what he is now if we had Scott Turner?
Nope.
Probably not.
Not at all.
Did you hear that, Sean? Ab, you listening? I know you're listening. I said probably
it wasn't loud enough.
I said probably not.
That's what I'm saying. Eric Bieniemy, I'm not gonna lie, we got something there, and I just really hope we don't lose it, because if you really think about it, he came to us to show the NFL, him like, hey, I was something in KC. It won't just all Andy Reid.
Right.
I did something with Pat Mahomes also. So he's really trying to show that, like, hey, we got this young guy, rookie, you might as well say. Let me show y'all what he can do, and look what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a lot of Eric Bieniemy on top of that. So I mean, I just really hope we don't lose him, man, because if let's just say we do keep winning, or let's just say we do. Do you think the ownership is going to keep Ron because we're winning? So he might just keep Ron, and then that means Ron might have to get another offensive coordinator, because these teams that are losing, they're going to want Eric Bieniemy as a head coach.
Right.
So that's going to.
I want to address one thing because I wanted to say to Nathan about the slow start. So we also got to remember is, these teams play these games knowing that it's going to be 4 quarters. And the first quarter can be a lot of scripted plays out there where they're testing to see what plays are going to work, what defenses are they going to run, so that they know later on how to set that up for the next one. And I do agree so that can be some of where the slow starts come, is they already know what they're doing to start with, and then they make their adjustments. But I agree with you where Bieniemy's made a huge difference in this team, and just the attitude on the sidelines, the confidence, the inspiration.
Right.
He is the rah-rah guy. I mean, and they even say, people were concerned at training camp that he was too much in their face. He was too hard.
Right.
But we only see one side. We don't see what happens in the building. We don't see what happens during the film study when they're correcting that stuff. And he's talking to them and talking these players up, as well. So it's just one side of the story to it. So I agree with you where he's been a huge addition to this. I've got a question for all of y'all. Go ahead, and then I got a question for you.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, well, I was going back to the Eric Bieniemy when you said they were saying something about in training camp he's a little too rough. Man, the man came here. He even said it in an interview when they were talking to him. He was saying, "Listen, they brought me here to, I have a job to do." And he was like, "It's nothing personal. These guys know I love them. If I might be a little harsh on them, but at the end of the day, we're trying to get a job done. And if I don't do my job, then I'm gonna get fired." Like, let's be honest. These guys, at the end of the day, it's a job. These guys making millions of dollars. These players, y'all better buckle up. I want someone to go to war with. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. And, go ahead, Sean.
I was gonna say that's my thing. Hold up, this man's coming here from back-to-back, or not back-to-back, but 2 Super Bowl championships. He just finished celebrating a Super Bowl, and you got the audacity. I want to know who the players are personally, because I bet those players might be on the secondary. Not going to name names, but I got a problem with that, because look, we're from old school. We know about those fiery coaches and things like that. And
right.
Yes, I don't agree with the Bobby Knight style where he's hitting kids or whatever, but yeah, throwing a chair at the wall and just getting those guys amped up. Yes, we need that. Why is it that when you're won 4 straight games, you're doing that, Ron, and you're getting those guys, and now you got EB in here, and you're in the media talking about, oh, well, they're coming to me, and I said, just talk to him. No, you're not their parent. Go out there and tell them, oh, you have a problem with them yelling at you? Okay, give back the money that the team gave you, and you can go back on your way, because it's the NFL. If you can't get yelled at, goodbye.
That's right. And I ain't gonna lie, and that's the difference between Eric Bieniemy, a championship level with Ron. I hate to say it, man. I let's be honest. Will Ron be what Ron is today if he didn't have Cam Newton? I think Cam made Ron. Let's be honest, man. I hate to say that, but
that 1 year, we're at 15-1.
Yeah.
If you really look at his record, I think he just got 100 wins or something like that. But I think how many winning seasons? He's only had 3. Come on. I ain't gonna lie to you. You ready for this? I hate to say this, but I think Jay Gruden would have done better with this team.
Maybe.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
Maybe offensively, yes. Or
coaching.
Coaching,
just a little bit. Coaching
control over the players. That's the only problem.
You're right.
Right.
But
So
I just
here's a scenario for you.
Go ahead.
All right. All right, and Ab, I know you're listening, so I want you to think about this. I'm going to preface this by saying I think Sam Howell has shown a lot this year, and he is probably the best quarterback we've had in Washington since Brad Johnson. All right, now it's not a high bar.
Rippon. Go farther back.
Farther back, even more. It's not the highest of bar, but he shows a whole lot of potential. But to your point is, what do you think the owners are going to do? I don't think Ron's going to make it through after the season. I think they're going to come in here and they're going to fire. I think they're going to fire everybody and really get a chance to assess this. And if you know anything about Josh Harris when it comes to what he did in Philly for the Sixers, he's an analytics guy. He's a new school type person. So I think he's going to bring in some type of general manager who wants to run the league, run his team the way the league is right now, which is offensive based. Okay. Mm-hmm. Say you bring in someone other than Eric Bieniemy to be the head coach. Mm-hmm. Do you think that coach, like say like a Ben Johnson, the guy from the Lions, he's the hottest name out right now. Mm-hmm. If you have a top 10 pick, are you telling this coach we have our quarterback in place? Or are you saying you have a top 10 pick, GM, new coach, the roster is yours. You go out there and get whoever you want. Sam Howell has shown us some things. But if we get value out there on the trade market and we can draft someone, not going to be a Caleb Williams, not going to be a Drake May, but a first-round pick that you like, the team's yours. How would you all feel about that? Before you answer that, let me remind you, Sam Howell next year is going into his third year of a 4-year contract. You only have him for 2 more seasons. You draft a rookie quarterback in the first round, you have 5 years at a cheap deal.
Right.
How would you all feel about this?
Stop trying to get rid of my quarterbacks, Will. Sam's here. All right. Go ahead, Alex. Tell him.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, man, I think it all depends on how Sam Howell's season is going to turn out. But I would keep him and I would build around Sam. I'm not going to lie to you. I think we got all the weapons. We do need a tight end. I do like Logan Thomas, but Logan Thomas is not really the best blocker. Mm-hmm. But he's pretty good at catching the ball and stuff like that. But with Terry, Jahan, and Curtis, I just feel like he's going to keep on improving. But if it was me, I would tell the guy you talking about top 10 pick offensive line.
Probably, absolutely.
Come on, man. And then it boils down to the trade deadline. What are you going to do with Chase? What are you going to do with Sweat? There was another name I told y'all last year, Antonio Gibson. Yeah. I hate to say it, man. You're not signing him. He's on his last year. You're not. He fumbled too much. I love Antonio Gibson. He just fumbles too much. He's more of a wide receiver than a running back. So I mean, yeah, I think it's time to. If we keep losing, I think it's time to get rid of these guys and get some picks and build around Sam. If he keeps growing, you know what I'm saying? If you see that level of growth, because that's what we've seen it from week 1 all the way to what are we now? Week 6.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, I think he's continuing growing. You know what I mean? You remember the Bills game. I'm not too mad about him throwing 4 picks. The man was trying to bring us back. You know, yeah, he made a lot of mistakes, but then the Eagles game was really to show like, hey, do we have something or did he lose his confidence? And the man showed up in the Eagles game. We should have won that game, by the way. I was so upset with that game. They cheated Terry, but yeah, I mean, he just grew right. I mean, you know, he showed that he had a bad game and then he bounced back. A lot of guys can't do that, you know. Right. A lot of rookies, anyways, at that. So
a lot of pros can't do that.
Right.
Right. Sean, you're saying you have to Sam Howell
keep
is the
him.
guy.
You keep him, and you look. Let's be honest. Like what Alex is saying, he's still showing these signs that he is a solid quarterback. Mm-hmm. With all of the problems that we're talking about, with some of the things with the O-line, some of the wide receivers maybe dropping balls, the lack of a run game. Sam is carrying the team on his back and doing that. We're a couple position groups away from seriously being a contender. I mean, if we get an O-line, if we can somehow find out what a linebacker is and get a linebacker and just get 1 or 2 more pieces in that secondary to add some veteran leadership, what are we talking about right now? You know what I mean? Like, because just as quickly as we could have been 0-5 in these, losing those first two potentially, we should have beat Philly. We should have beat the Bears. You know what I mean? And even if you really go back and look at the tape of that Bills game, there are points in that Bills game where if we score a touchdown, that momentum changes because Buffalo was not destroying us. I know what the final score says, but when it was 16-0, when all they could do is kick field goals against our defense, if Brian Robinson doesn't fumble the ball in the red zone, if we don't throw the interception in the end zone, I mean, just those few little things could have changed everything. In my opinion, I say as long as you have this guy, he's proven what you can do, which is more than most quarterbacks that we've had in the last 4 or 5 years since Kirk Cousins.
Right.
Let's build around this guy. Give him some help on that line. Give him, you know what I mean? Like you said, Gibson's out. All right, Brian, let everybody know Brian Robinson is your guy. So you give him a fullback, Alex Arma. You give him that line. You get us to establish the run, and you work with the quarterback. Because if we start to do this, and I love it, new coach, I know he's got to get his QB, but if we continue to do this, that's what the writing on the wall is for Washington. Yeah. Oh, if you come here, you can play quarterback, but eventually the new coach or somebody's going to just take you out and you're going to keep going. We don't give guys an opportunity. Now, some of those guys don't stay healthy enough to get an opportunity, but we finally have a young guy that has not been tampered by the NFL. He's got ice in his veins. Show him that you think he's got it. Show him that you believe in him and watch what it'll do.
It's also an easier path to improving your team if like Alex, like you said, if you got a top 10 pick, if you're drafting one of the top left tackles, because you already got the quarterback in place. I just think it could potentially bring back shades of 2013 when they fired Mike Shanahan. They were interviewing Jay Gruden and Mike Zimmer from the Bengals. Those are like the two guys they kept going at. And Jay Gruden was picked because Dan Snyder said, I want you to work with Robert Griffin. I got this guy in place. I'm picking you to find out if he's got something. And Mike Zimmer was the better head coach. Jay Gruden's a better offensive schemer. Right. And so we didn't get the best guy because we stuck with our quarterback. And that's what had me thinking about that. But I do think if Bieniemy gets promoted at the end of the year in January to be head coach, I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, he has the ability to pick his quarterback, but I think he wouldn't take the job if he didn't have one of two things. He feels confident in Sam Howell to say, yep, I'm riding with this guy. Or he knows I have the ability to go get whoever I want. Like, he's not going to put himself in a bad situation. I haven't read what this comment says.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's a question mark. We really don't know because it's week 6. It's coming up to week 6. But going back to what you were saying, if we do keep losing games and Sam is just, I'm not gonna say god awful, but he's not, right. He's so, and we got the top 5 pick or somewhere around there. Then that's something that you have to be like, you have to look at that film on Sam again, see what games he's lost, look at fourth quarter moments. Did he bring us back? Did he not? And then with the guy Williams, I think he's the biggest guy quarterback he's the biggest thing coming out of, right? So yeah, that's something that you would lean on to quarterback, your first pick with the new coach and all that. But I mean, how it looks now, a lot of it's not Sam. The reason why we're losing this game,
100% not. He's not even close to being the problem.
No, he's not, because for years it's always been, quarterback. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like we got our guy, but now you're starting to see pieces like, well, it ain't the quarterback's fault now. So what else is it? You know what I mean?
Right. And look, I'd be okay with this, saying draft a new quarterback and have them compete. Yeah, I mean, if we're a top 5 pick, I mean, let's just get another North Carolina quarterback and just start getting that Carolina blue, baby. I like that. Drake may start, Sam back up, whatever, baby. I love that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you that when it comes to defense, the main guy that I would sign, because I think Sweat is on his final year, Chase is on his final year, right? Ain't these guys on their final year? I think the main guy moving forward that we should sign to be our main defensive guy is Cameron Curl.
Yeah.
I would sign Cameron Curl in a heartbeat. He should be our captain. He should be our leader. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, he's always the leading tackler. I mean, if you watch, he has to cover and play that, and then he comes up and plays linebacker. It's pretty sad that he's really our best linebacker. I mean, I'm starting to love Jamin Davis's growth, but he's not what we thought he was going to be. You know, he's just kind of like an average linebacker. I mean, he can't really play coverage that very well. That's why they take him out on third downs. You know, and then we have 3 safeties on third downs. If you notice that, Butler's up top, and then Forrest, and then Cameron Curl is like, you know, playing up like linebacker. But yeah, I mean, that's what I would do out of signing those guys. Now, Chase, I don't know, but I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, it's about to be week 6. When's the trade deadline? Week 9?
I'm not sure.
I think it's week 8, week 9. They got to do something with Chase. I mean,
but Ab is right here. Like, we get our hopes up. If like, you're not wrong in your thinking, but it's also we got to know who's our pulling the trigger. And Ron is way too hesitant to do that type of stuff.
Oh no,
right. Gibson's not returning. You know, and it's like, but are they going to get value for him right now? No.
No. That's it.
Yep.
Now look, now I'm gonna make an audible because I am still at work, so we do gotta kind of put a bow on this thing, and we're gonna go into we got a game coming up, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna keep you on here, Alex. Week 6 coming up. Atlanta plays Washington. Desmond Ridder versus Sam Howell. We know it. Maybe Sam Heineke sighting in this ball game. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. I'm just going to pull it out right now. I
don't have them.
You don't have them? It's all good. It's all good. I'm calling the audible on this. We do something on this show called Keys to Victory, where we talk about what we think is going to get us the W this coming week. Honestly, we almost boycotted this segment after last week, but we are back, and we are going to give out our keys to victory. Alex, we're going to go around once and then go around again. What is your first key to victory against the Atlanta Falcons this week?
Getting after Ridder. I would say that D-line has to get after Ridder. Turnovers, really, getting some turnovers on them. That's what I believe. I think offense will be fine versus Atlanta's defense, but I would say defense is getting after Ridder because Ridder had a bad game. He had a bad game, not the previous one, but what was it before? Who did he just play? He just played
Texans.
Texans. He had a good game in Texans, right? But I'm talking about before that game. He was Detroit. Terrible.
I think it was Detroit.
Yeah, it was one of them. Yeah, he was playing terrible, man. If we can get after him, we'll definitely win the game. I really do feel like defense needs to step up, and turn this thing around. You know what I mean? That's what I do believe.
Mm-hmm. Will, what you think?
Yeah, I'm with Alex there about it's the defense. If you're going to say the words Jack's not the problem, well, here's your game. You got your butts whooped on Thursday night national television. You all need to show up on Sunday, and you need to take back this team and be who you think you are. You need to show us. And I think the defense is going to be pissed off. And I think like that defensive line is going to make impacts.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I'm going to the other side of the ball. Last week, Brian Robinson had 6 carries for 10 yards. And as we saw, we were so far in the game that we had 55 straight passes. This week, we need to just help our defense out. We need to run the ball and keep our offense on the field, chew the clock. I want to see a play like when Brian Robinson caught that pass at the goal line and then ran over that Falcons wide receiver and rooted to get in the touchdown. That's what I want to see. Like, I want to see hard-nosed running because when we are not down 10, down 16, early in the game, look at that Philly game, Brian Robinson just digging out yards, getting 6, 7, 8 yards a carry, and that's opening up the passing game for Sam Howell. And then all of a sudden, we're putting up 30, plus points. So I want us to run the ball and early and often. So Alex, what's your last key to victory?
I agree. Well, you did say running the ball. Yeah, That makes perfect sense. Well, I was saying that after the Philly game, man, I really thought we were going to be 5-2 coming back to Philly. Like I really thought the Bears. What was it? What is the Bears, the Falcons, and the Giants?
Yep.
I mean, I thought this was going to be an easy road, and we was going to come to Philly and be like, "Yo, we back to coming."
I predicted 3 straight victories too.
I did too, dog. I did too, man. With ease. I mean, the Bears. I mean, if somebody really betted me, like, oh, I bet you $100 the Bears gonna win. Let's bet. Like, no question. Bears ain't beating us. Like, bro. But that really hurt me. Dog. You talking about somebody was so mad. I mean, I turned the game off in the fourth quarter. I was so pissed. But I would have to say, the running game. I would have to say that. And more, if anything, I would say the coaching, man. Get these guys hype. You know what I'm saying? It didn't look like they were ready. I know we had a short week, but the Bears had a short week too. But they looked like they wanted it more, which I understand. They are 14. What was a 14 game losing streak? So I mean, I get it, but it had to been against us. Did you know, like do y'all remember that back in 2006 or 7 or something like that? It was the Detroit Lions. They were god awful. They had Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson at the time. I mean, mind you, we had Clint Portis. I think we had Jason. Did we have Jason Campbell?
Probably at that time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chris Cooley. And they had to break the losing streak versus us. And here come the Bears. It's like we have the worst luck. I don't get it, man. I really don't. And that really just crushed me. The whole time I was thinking about that when I was watching the Bears game. I said, if these dudes come back, I mean, if these dudes win this game, they're going to talk about this Lions back. But
the Lions, the Rams. There was a
the
Rams
Bengals
team.
did it too.
The Bengals, yeah.
We're slump busters. That's what we are.
That's what we are.
Hold on. So the Bengals was on a losing streak and they beat us?
Yeah.
Winless. Yeah.
We're the biggest slump buster for
I
football
don't know what it is, but it happens.
Yeah. So
Rough,
my keys, actually, I'm going to go against both of you guys and what you're saying. I don't care about the running game because I take Terry, Curtis, and Jahan over AJ, Jeff, and D. Alford. They're 3 corners. I'll take them all day, every day. I want us to attack their secondary. Jesse Bates is back there. He's a good player, but I will take our players over them every single day. And so I want us to go after these guys and be aggressive.
Oh, I like that.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I agree with that. When I was watching when we were watching the Bears game, you saw that DJ Moore got 230 yards and 3 TDs. He could have got 4 touchdowns. But you know what I was thinking? I was thinking, like, why isn't Terry doing this? Why isn't Terry getting this? Like Terry and DJ, I would say they're about the same player. Like DJ is not that much off from Terry.
No.
But the day we played him, it's like DJ looked like a whole different player. And I'm like, Terry can do that too. Why don't they feed this man this ball like they're doing, the Bears are doing? So I really do hope, man, that Eric Bieniemy feeds Terry more. And Jahan was supposed to have a breakout year. He's a little quiet, but I think they're just trying to get this offense ready. But I just really hope they feed, like you said, Will, I really do hope they do feed these wide receivers more, man, and let him have a breakout game, because Terry needs to have that breakout game, man.
Yes.
I haven't seen really a big breakout game from him yet. Like, has Terry ever got 200 some yards in a game?
No.
No, I mean, I love him. Don't get me wrong. I love Terry, but I don't think he's a team player, That's what you got to love about him. But it's just like, man, like, be Odell for a second. Just be like, give me the ball. Just give me the ball. Yeah, because I'm telling you, if Terry was like that, because he's not, and I respect it. I'm glad he's not like an Odell, Terrell Owens. But if he was like that in the Bears game, I wouldn't have been mad, because you win games with great players. Great players step up, and you know what I'm saying. But he's not that type of player. But I've seen him get hype on the sideline now. He gets hype. I just hope that I just hope he does that when we really need him. You know what I'm saying? Throw me the ball and give it to me so we can win this game. You know what I mean?
Heineke gave it to him. Heineke would feed him.
Right.
I knew it.
He didn't care. He just Terry somewhere. Go get it.
Yeah. Terry somewhere. Remember that Colts game?
That's
Y'all
what I'm
remember
saying.
that?
That's exactly
That
right.
was
The
Terry
worst
was like,
pass
"Give me that
I've
ball."
ever seen. And 2 years ago against the Falcons, he threw that moon ball up. It just happened to land right in Terry's hand.
That was incredible.
Touchdown.
Right.
That's
Yo.
what.
Yo, my last one, honestly, we're talking about wide receivers. Well, our number one draft pick has had a rough couple of weeks. He had to deal with AJ Brown, and AJ Brown bodied him. Then I'm like, oh well, he doesn't have to play a big receiver. Well, a little receiver bodied him, and DJ Moore this last week. He got yanked. Obviously, they were talking to him in the media, but I need to see Forbes. Right? We've seen what happened after the Bills game with Sam Howell and how he responded. 4 turnovers 1 week, no turnovers the next week, and he had us in that game. Forbes has been notably called out and talked about. Everybody has said, hey, you were supposed to be this big guy, blah, 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 and we're seeing what happens. I want to see him take this thing personal, get pissed off, and come out there and shut down Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan, whoever is out getting the pass. I want to see him come in there, and I need some turnovers. This guy had 6 pick sixes last year in college. I want to see him getting the ball. I want to see him. If I see him going after one, he just missed that pick. Good. You're a ball hawk. You're going after it, and I want to see that. I want to see him out there leaving it all out on the field, because we talk about confidence. We talk about these guys, trying to play. This is the NFL, which stands for not for long. If you can't, every receiver can be great. You know what I mean? If they go up against the right competition. So I want to see Forbes show up and show out and be the number one draft pick. Let's go.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Sean. A lot of people are giving flag about that guy, and now, mind you, I met him at the training camp. I got the video. Did I show y'all the video? I got to show it to y'all, man. I got to send it to y'all. But he was walking into the building where all the players were going, and I nobody called his name. And I was like, oh, I know who that is, because it was the first pick. I'm like, yo, Manuel, and he walked away, and I couldn't see him. But then he came back. He came to me and my kids, man, and I said, oh man, I know you, man, and shook his hand and everything. If you really look at him, man, I think he was probably as tall as me. I'm about 6 foot, but he was skinny as a twig. He was skinny as a twig.
Are you bigger than him?
I was definitely bigger than him. But the dude, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. If you really watch him, I like him. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yes, he did play AJ, but he also, everybody keeps talking about he getting burnt. He also had some good plays on AJ Brown. Even when he got burnt and then we went into overtime, that big play that AJ did, and then Sam Howell brought us back into overtime. In overtime, I think Justin Hurts, right? Jalen Hurts threw it to Brown. What was it? I think 2 or 3 times, and Forbes knocked it down. I don't know. People didn't talk about that, but Emmanuel was so upset that, he stopped AJ Brown in overtime. If you really go back and watch that, he's a dog, man. And when it comes to DJ, man, he was right on DJ. What is it? DJ. I'm having a brain fart.
More.
What is it?
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore, yeah. DJ Moore, man, he was right on DJ Moore. It was hard to tackle him. DJ is slippery, and his weakness is somewhat of tackling, but man, he's right there. If people don't remember last year when Kendall Fuller was getting burnt up, do y'all remember that? He was the reason why we didn't cut him was because he was getting out rebound and he was always on the defender, but he just had bad luck. Like, he was just getting out rebound. That's like Emmanuel Forbes. He's right there. It's just not going his way. But I really do think that he'll turn things around. Everybody keeps talking about Gonzalez. We should have drafted Gonzalez. That dude, look who's still in the game. I don't wish no injuries, but that dude's out for the season. Mm-hmm. So, Forbes, he might be little. Everybody thought that he wasn't going to last preseason. So, give him some time. I really do feel like we got a stud. A lot of great corners get burnt there. Darius Slade reached out to him and said that, my rookie year, I got benched. So, I think we got something. I really do.
There's no reason people should be upset over him getting burnt in coverage in his 5th game in the NFL. Right. Now, I am concerned. Ab said it. I can't see another almost got it from him. I'm more concerned about his tackling and some of the effort. Some of the time when they're out there, if they're running towards him, not just a pass, but if a ball carrier is running towards him, he makes some business decisions out there. And that's a little bit of a concern for me. But I think enough film and coaching can fix that.
Right. Well, I will say this. What I have seen from him, and he's real good at, is when the offensive line comes at him and tries to block him, he moves right past them because the offensive line can't get him. And he's too fast and too small. He moves right past him and gets a tackle. So, I mean, he'll definitely improve, man. I really do feel like we got a stud, and he's very good in zone. Very good. I don't know why we don't use him more in zone. And when he played that, who was the other wide receiver? I can't think of his name. Smith for the Eagles.
Devontae Smith. Yeah.
Devontae Smith. That ball Devontae Smith caught, and Emmanuel was right on him. I mean, you can't play no better corner play than that. I mean, Devontae Smith just caught it. It should have been dropped, but I mean, it just landed when he fell on the ground. It landed right back in his hands. I mean, Emmanuel Forrest played that perfectly. So, I mean, we got something. People just need to calm down and just relax. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, look, hey, before we go, let's go ahead and give our score predictions. Alec, what do you think the score is going to be, man?
Oh, man. I don't know, man. 21-24. I don't know. 21-24, I guess. we'll win by a bit. I hate to say that. I think we could blow them out, but I think it's gonna be a tight one because they got some dogs. Kyle Pitts ain't really done nothing all year, and this dude might show up against us because we always get. And they got Drake London, and I do like Ritter. I liked Ritter out in college, so he might have an off game and on game. And their defense, I think they're real good in the run stop, right? So, I'm gonna say it's gonna be a close game. I think we can win by a field goal.
Okay, I like that. Well, what you think?
24-20. Defense is going to make a stop. They're going to need a touchdown. We're going to stop them.
I agree.
I like that. I think a couple weeks ago I said against the Bills, I said something like 27-21 we'd get it done. That didn't happen. Against Philly, I said something like that. I called the Bears game. I thought we were going to lose that game. I saw something. Honestly, I'm going to go 17-16. I'm going to go a late drive late in the game where we score. I'm sorry. What I saw in the Bears is it's drenched all over me. I can't get that off. And if I want us to turn it around, but you got to do it, man. You got to play in these games. And last year we had this same type of situation. We were like 2-4, 2-3 1-4. And then we played the Colts, and it was a 16-17 game. It was the one you talked about where Taylor just chucked it up there, and then he caught it over Stephon Gilmore, and then Terry got it done. So, yeah, I'm saying 17-16, close game that we get it done on a field goal at the end of the game.
Hey, are we gonna be at home?
In Atlanta.
No, ATL. And real quick, if a familiar quarterback does play in this game, all bets are off.
It's over.
Yeah. Taylor. Oh, he's gonna light us up. I do believe that. I think he'll light us up. I do
because he's gonna test that secondary. He's not gonna be scared of our secondary at all.
No. Taylor's going to have something like 250 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half, just chucking it up there against our guys.
Hey, and I ain't even going to be mad at him. I'm going to cheer for him all the way. Do your thing, man. Just keep doing it.
Good job, Terry. Good job.
Right. Should have never got rid of you. I believed in you. No, they didn't. I believed in you.
Ab says Bijan's gonna run all over us. Why y'all not talking about that?
If we lose this game, that will be the reason why we can't. Stop
Bijan. He I ain't gonna lie to you. He's a dog, but the reason why I really ain't talked about him is because I just feel like our D line is that good. But you're right. We give up run plays a lot, man. So he might ball out, but it shouldn't happen. With the D line we have, it should not happen. And I really do hope. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I really do hope they Khalid Hudson, right? Khalid Hudson and the dude that we got from Dallas practice squad or some Cox.
He didn't get promoted. He's still on the bench.
Oh my God!
Practice squad.
I was hoping we see some of him, man. But Khalid Hudson, man, Jamin Davis, Barton just needs to
struggling.
Just go, man. Just go, man. We should have
bargain signing that's not working. Out.
Yeah, we should have signed what's his name? Holcomb. Ain't it Cole?
Yes.
No. He's a dog with Steelers.
All you do is feed Sean these North Carolina players.
That's right. He is absolutely right.
He's a dog, man. He's a dog, man. We should have kept. I mean, do you see him with the Steelers though? All jokes aside, I mean, he's knocking heads, man. But yeah, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. If we can get this linebacker play, I really hope I see some Hudson. I want to see what he can do. Bijan might be able to stop him, but yeah, Bijan is a dog. Yeah.
The reason why I was not talking about Bijan Ab is because I remember when we played them last year. Now they had Cordell Patterson and they had Tyler Algier, and they were beating us with the running game. But what happened is they tried to put the ball in Mariota's hand. That's why he had that interception that was tipped at the line by Daron Payne, because they stopped running the ball. And I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to give Bijan his touches, but they're also going to give touches to Algier, and they're also going to let Ritter do whatever they're going to try to get Ritter to do. So if I know we can only hope to contain him, but I don't know that they're going to give him 30 carries in this ball game just because the last couple of years.
Right.
Yeah. They only give him like something like 10 something, but they also get him in the pass game. And that's where our linebackers and or safeties need to come up and be able to cover and tackle him, because he'll make people look silly in a heartbeat.
What do you think Bijan's going to get 100 yards over us? I really do believe it.
Probably.
I hate to say that, but
all-purpose yards, I do think that.
Yeah,
I do think he gets. Absolutely. I think he gets like 75 on the ground, 75 in the air, and the only reason is because I think they're gonna utilize Algier. That's what they've been doing all year. They've been using both in there, and it's like, you have Bijan. Why are you using this other guy? But that's what they do. So their deficiencies might help us.
Hey, what happened to Mathis? Remember Mathis? Do y'all remember?
Right?
He's been injured.
Yeah.
Still. Another second round pick messed up.
Yeah, I remember he came back, but I don't remember seeing him.
He got hurt in the Browns game. He hurt his calf. I don't know what's going on with his rehab.
Okay. Well, I was just saying, man, that's kind of what we need, is a nose guard, man. You know, somebody that can stop, this D line, because I really do feel like we're better in the passing attack than the rushing attack. Because Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen, they'll get the sacks, but it's just like they're not very good at stopping the run. You know what I'm saying? I hate to say that, but
they're not run stuffers. They're
not.
They play the gaps and penetrate the gaps.
And that's the only thing that sucks, man. I love them to death. I mean, I love the D line, but it's just they're a little, overrated, I think. Just a little. I hate to say that, but they are. I mean, we should not be getting. I mean, the dude for the Bears, he should not ran up on us. I mean, Swift, he killed us for the Eagles. I mean, it's no excuse, man. With these big names, we should be stopping that. But that's why I feel like Bijan Robinson, he'll probably get close to 100 yards, or maybe even more.
Here's what Ab said: calling a career game. I'm hoping not.
Oh man, don't say that, man.
Yeah.
Look. We got to get out of here. Alex, man, we want to say we really appreciate you hopping back in here, talking with us, getting down with us like we used to, man. Appreciate that, y'all.
Definitely, man. It was definitely good talking to y'all, man. I hope I can bring my podcast back, man. It's nothing. I still got it. It's just I haven't been on. I've been working. Got a new job and just really, kids. I got 3 boys and wife and stuff, so I really haven't been able to do it, man. But hopefully, man, this winter, man, I'll try to get back in the podcast and talk some football, man, because I love what y'all do. You know what I'm saying? But
bro, you know, I got enough shows to feed everybody. So if you got any time you want to talk football, you just hit me up and I'll throw you in, man. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yo, appreciate you, my guy. We'll wrap with you, man.
Definitely, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all be safe.
Oh yeah, you too, man. You too. Absolutely. Yo, we want to sit here and thank our guys, Alex and Nathan Snell, for joining us on the show, talking a little Washington, getting an opportunity to vent their frustrations. This is therapy for us, ladies and gentlemen, and it's much needed. Trust and believe. But real quick, before we go, I did want to mention this. I forgot to do it earlier in the show. Today is October 11th, 2023. Today's my father's birthday, ladies and gentlemen. My father is 84 years young.
Wow.
Yes. I called him before I got on the show, and he said, interesting. Waited till 8 o'clock or 7:30 to call me, huh? Uh-huh. Interesting. All he said was noted. I said, "Oh, Pop, come on, Pop." He said, "Guys, sorry." He said, "You're good. You're still in the wheel. I'm just letting you know." So, hey, the entire reason why I do any of the things that I do, especially with this, and the entire reason why I can't just go with one show and I got to go with 4, 5, and 6. That's my dad. That's his lifeblood. That's what he does. He was in radio. He was in TV. He was in media. He was everywhere. My parents moved. My mom moved them back to North Carolina because my dad had already retired twice, but was still working with different consulting firms in DC and driving to DC every single day. And my mom was just like, I can't do it. But she can't tell him to stop because just like me, we're stubborn. We're going to keep grinding. We're going to keep working, doing it up. So they moved to North Carolina. So now my dad has different work. He's got his riding lawnmower. Yes. He goes out to a couple of those shops, Lowe's and Home Depot. They know him on a first name basis. So he's living it up, man. He's doing his thing.
Awesome. Well, happy birthday to him. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. And always is able to give me some stuff about my team and talk about, hey, did you lose again? Oh, thanks, Dad. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Well, look, we've been on here almost 2 hours, and it was a vent session. Mm-hmm. It was a vent session. Will, we got a lot of stuff out, and hopefully we can come back here with a victory next week.
Absolutely. Let's hope so. Gosh, it's got to happen.
I can't go with another loss, Will. No. I can't do this again. Do this again. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see y'all next time. For your boy, Sean Spencer, my guy, Mr. Will Kramer, we appreciate you being with us. Peace in the Middle East. Right at first.